a little, oh, I guess our IT guy must have done some work on the background on these guys, on my laptop. So.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
And
Oh, dear.
you're the last to know.
That's the way it
Yeah,
goes.
absolutely.
Yep. Welcome, everybody. This is Jonna. I apologize. I had to join by phone today. Typically, I'm able to make all this technology come together, but it's not today, so I apologize. Brant is with us, and he's going to be helping. I hope, can other people hear me, or is it just, I know that Richard was able to hear me. Yes, thank you, Shelley. Okay, thanks, John. Shelley, I understand. Okay, so Brant's with us, and he may have to help me navigate a little bit. Typically, it's not quite this rocky, but we will go ahead and get started. I wanted to see if, oh good, Eric's here. Okay, but can't talk. Bummer. All right, so Eric, be sure and give us some feedback and stuff through the chat as we go along. So, got everybody. I wondered if has Lacey been able to join us yet? Let's see if I can see her. Okay, I do not see Lacey with us yet. Hello, Marcia. I understand. Oh. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead because it's 2 o'clock, and we'll go ahead and just get started with some of this. The first thing was a review of minutes from the meeting that we had, and let me see if I can pull our agenda up. Usually I can, so Brant, I hope you're listening. I would like to be able to access some stuff on my, oh, this is nice. All right. I need to be able to access my desktop. Brant, if you can help me with that. Usually, right. Okay, well, hang on, everybody. I'm going to try this. Going to minimize that and bring up the agenda for today. We'll see if that opens and if you can see it. Oh dear, I apologize. This is really bad today. My goodness. Wow. I'm not quite sure what's going on. Wow. I'm sorry. Is anybody getting anything?
I just see your name, Jonna, on the black screen.
Okay, and I see yours, Richard. That's what I see. Okay. Okay, now everything's back. Okay. I just need to go to share at the bottom of the page. Okay. So I want to share my Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share the minutes, which were taken when we met last. And that was actually back in May instead of June there. Hopefully my computer goes ahead and shows this for us all.
Looks like we're looking at a Windows screen for LOTG.
Thank you. That's good. You're seeing that then. I asked it to open up a PDF and it's taking its time. My goodness. It's pretty frustrating. Huh. Okay, so Brant, any suggestions as to why my the minutes won't load? It's just a PDF. Why it won't share?
No. Do you have two screens or one? Are we just seeing one screen here?
You're just yeah, I'm almost with Shelley. We might as well reschedule. Gosh. And John, I'm sorry, I don't hear you talking. I apologize, but that could be because I haven't muted myself. Okay, what I see is my, wow. I did the share, and I've got the Library on the Go meeting in front of me. Oh, here it finally comes up. Wow. How about that, guys? Does that look like minutes from our last meeting?
Not quite.
Okay.
Yeah, we're still just seeing the Windows
You're just seeing that?
Explorer screen.
Okay.
It looked like it. Do you have one screen or two monitors?
I just have one screen.
Oh. I think you just shared.
If I had two monitors, it'd even, yeah.
Stop sharing for us here. And when you go to share, hit the caret next to it. I think when you can select, I think you've just selected one of the windows rather than the whole screen.
Okay. So should I click on new share?
Yeah, just stop sharing or whatever.
Okay, so pause share.
Yeah.
I can do that. And now what to do next?
So click on the share button again. Do you have a...
Okay.
Give me 1 second here.
How about that?
I see the minutes now.
Oh, gosh. Oh, my. It's never this bad. Holy cow.
Looks good.
All right. Such as it is. All right. So Lacey, who typically takes our minutes, was not able to join us on the 16th of May. So these are minutes that I took alongside running or, leading the meeting as well. So what I did was just kind of review kind of the things we talked about. Our Overdrive representative was not able to join us. These were the topics that we discussed. And you can all see that, so I certainly won't read. It was a good meeting. We had a lot of discussion. Any comments about that? And this is super awkward with me just being on the phone like this. So, so seeing the chat, what we got? Okay, I'd like to close that screen, Brant, and bring up a new one if it's possible. So just do a new share.
Yeah, I go ahead and do that. You should be able to have an option in there to share your entire screen if you want to do that instead of just the windows that are open. I think it's on the far left when you click on it. But otherwise, yeah, you have to keep changing what window you're sharing.
Yeah, I apologize. I don't see that. There's something. Let me try this one just in case. Okay. Great. Thank you, John. All right. Okay. So if with that out of the way, then those minutes and all that stuff, I'm going to turn the floor over to Richard to talk about our holds, and maybe I can get something else pulled up behind us in the background. So as Richard talks about that, I'll see if I can bring back up our agenda for today. So Richard, if you'd like to, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Jonna. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you. Well, it's no surprise that our ebook holds are over twice what our audiobook holds are. Generally by format, our ebook holds are 69%, our audio holds are at 31%. And that mirrors what we do on checkout each month. Generally in our group consortium checkouts, 71% of the checkouts are ebooks and 29% are audiobooks. So we're still at a roughly 70%, 30% formula for the holds by the format and the checkouts by the format. Insofar as the checkouts by the title audience, we're still very heavily adult titles, which is about 87% of our monthly checkout. YA is up a little bit, around 8%. It's usually 6 to 8% a month. And juvenile is roughly 5% a month. That stays pretty much about the same. We had our best circulation month in July of 2018. That was our best month in 2 years. And although we've been up in the following months from the previous months back to January 17, we are on a little bit of a downward track right now. Our circulation numbers haven't been quite as high as they were when we hit our peak in July of 18. Part of that has to do when you look at the graph for when we make our purchases and the checkout activity when you compare the two. Generally speaking, when we have a big month as a group in purchases and we spend a considerable amount of money, within the next 2 or 3 months, we usually see a spike in circulation, obviously, because we have more content and newer content. We have been on a downward trajectory because we haven't purchased quite as much in the fall as we have in the past. However, there's some good news. December of this last year, we had the largest purchasing month as a consortium that we've had in over 2 years. So hopefully as we go into this month, January and February and even March, we will see a real uptick in our circulation, and we might hit that 20,000 mark for a month as a consortium, which is sort of our top goal right now. So we did have a great month for collective purchases, and I'm hopeful that it will be reflected in the circulation figures for January, February, and March. Finally, my apologies. I haven't sent out a new holds update in a while, and I will get to that immediately, so I'm hopeful to get that out to the consortium next week, and we can make sure that we can get copies of the titles that have so many holds and so many of our patrons are interested in reading and listening to. Jonna?
Thank you, Richard. That's really, really good news to know that we were able to spend a lot of money. That's awesome.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. We spent a little over $13,000 as a consortium in December, and when you look at the graph, we really shot up through the roof. So these next 3 months are really going to be interesting to see how that affects our circulation. Thanks.
Good. No, thank you. We just did a quick look here at our library, and Every Breath by Nicholas Sparks, of course, is very popular. Look Alive 25, Becoming is popular, as well as Educated and Crazy Rich Asians. So those were the ones that we were going to buy more, purchase more of. Okay. Thank you, Richard.
You're welcome.
So were there any, moving on then, the new checkout and hold limits, we did move to allowing people to check out and have 6 holds at a time. We had stayed at 5 for a long time. And I just wanted to check in. Are there any concerns about that, or is everybody feeling pretty good about that number? And I'm happy. I'll just watch the chat to see if there's any concerns on that. Great. We are good with 6 as well. Okay. Then we'll leave that alone for the time being. Renewals then is the next topic on our agenda. You'll be seeing those invoices in late February, early March. So be watching for those. And thankfully, that's when our new content credit will also become available. I know a lot of libraries have spent down all their money, so we will again have money available then in April and May to begin spending. If you have any questions about that, please reach out to me. Don't hesitate. Diva Majar is really good to work with as well. She's happy to help with anything like that. So the next topic on the agenda then is the topic of adding magazines. I really apologize that my computer is being so flaky. We did a survey, and I wanted to share that with you. I have it uploaded. It's just, I don't know if I can get to it. And it said, basically, we had the information about adding, whether or not we'd like to add magazines into Library on the Go. We've had a lot of libraries that have been interested in that, but then there were also concerns about the cost of adding magazines to your bill. So Diva has done a lot of work on that to help us come up with some costs. And she has also sent along the list of magazines that Overdrive has available at this time. I included those documents whenever I sent out the agenda, so hopefully you have those. And I just wondered if there was, okay, so Shelley's saying, I don't think I ever participated in a survey or missed the email. I didn't do the survey. Okay, I'm so glad. We had about, I believe there were 21 libraries that participated out of 30. That's pretty good for us. We usually get about 11 to come to this particular meeting. And Eric is right. The cost of magazines is much cheaper than the Zinio was. However, I have had some feedback from some small libraries who are pretty adamant that increasing their bill even by the I'll go back here. If you are our smallest tier, or if you're on our lowest tier and you're just paying $800 a year right now for Overdrive, if that increased it by $200, some libraries are like they would have to rethink whether or not they wanted to continue to be part of that. Oh, that's wonderful that you only had to pay $300 for Zinnia. We paid $3,000. So, yeah, the cost difference was pretty significant for us. Whew. Okay, and John saying, and that is what you paid for. So, John, you paid that for Zinio? RB Digital, right, that's what they ended up being. So, as you can see, the cost to add magazines through Overdrive is a little bit cheaper. However, if you took some time and looked through what Overdrive has available, they have 139 titles, but I know that there was at least one missing that we would have been looking for in particular. So, and Shelley, I agree. I was really glad that, I mean, we have some small libraries say that. So, and I too wish it could be an individual choice. Mm-hmm. We could try the survey again. And, oh, see, Shelley, you're joined by phone. Shelley, if you just want to try speaking, maybe take it off mute and see what happens.
Can anyone hear me?
Yes, Shelley, I can hear you.
Okay. Okay.
Yes,
I don't think I ever had it on mute, actually. I didn't. I don't think I ever did that. Anyway.
And Richard says he can hear you too. Yep.
Okay, great. Now, I do actually want to speak for the small libraries because, first of all, I'm kind of curious to know how many small libraries are in the consortium compared to big libraries, just because I'm afraid that the perspective might be skewed towards the bigger libraries, and so that's why I wanted to represent small libraries today.
Well, as you can see on the page that Diva sent us, Shelley, we have 18 libraries that fall in the very smallest tier, that's tier 1, and then we have 11 that are in the second tier. So really, yes, the smaller libraries make up the majority of our group. Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many others are with us today that are from small libraries. So if anybody's from a small library today, I would love to hear their opinion. But at my library, our physical magazines, the circulations have gone down probably within the past 5 years or more. I've actually had to take off quite a few magazines because they're just not getting checked out. Like we used to get HGTV. We would get This Old House. There were some carpentry magazines we would get. There's a lot of stuff we've had to drop. We do have high checkouts and people, though. But when I say high checkouts, it's really only kind of like a small number of people that check them out. So it's not like a wide variety. It's like there's a certain amount of people who actually like the magazines. And then they're the same people that will get them all the time. But for us as a small library, it's not a wide variety of people that are getting them, and it's really not worth it to us to add the magazines. I do wish there could be some way to talk to Overdrive to find out, how to make it more of an individual choice or maybe like a small group choice, and maybe they could give some different options. I don't know if that's even possible. So $300 to $400 is a lot of money for a small library. Our library is already in the middle of 2 huge projects. We just became a public district. So we have a lot of legal bills and fees to pay to our lawyer. And then we also are in the middle of a new building project, and we're pinching every penny we have just for that. But $300, $400 can also go towards paying salaries for staff. It can go towards books. And I would assume this is true for many other libraries too, the majority of our checkouts are books over magazines. And for us, it's just not worth paying that extra $300, $400 because that's taking away from buying like large print books, which my library really needs because I have more and more older patrons requesting large print. That also takes away from buying children's books or regular adult books. So that's $300, $400 does not seem like a lot to the big libraries, but it's a ton for a small library. So I just wanted to kind of clarify that I think that, I don't know, maybe there's a way to talk to more smaller libraries and see what they say.
All right. Thank you, Shelley. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
So, yeah. So I was going to go back. So let's see. Somebody had a question, Rochester, regarding the $1,600. Actually, Rochester, if you fall in Tier 2, so if your population is between 5,000 and 15,000, you would actually pay an additional $403 a year for magazines. That's kind of how that all plays out. So if your invoice from Overdrive is $1,600, then you can go across the sheet and see what the increase would be down the road. Kimberly tried Zinio. Patrons didn't use it. We had some experience with that too. So that's a good one to know as well. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Marcia. So the increase would not be a problem for your library. Okay. All right. I was going to go back and kind of talk to Overdrive a little bit and ask Diva. She's been, the only way that Overdrive has handled consortiums like us is that it's either a fee that is passed on to all libraries. That's the only way they have of managing it, which I'm sure with their accounting system. I did wonder if there would be a way for them to skew a larger portion of it toward the bigger libraries, of the bill toward the bigger libraries. But I'm not sure if their accounting department will allow that or not. So that's kind of where we stand with magazines. Richard suggested maybe another survey. If so, I want to chase that with a phone call to make sure that everybody does have a chance to participate and make their voices heard, so we can come to a good consensus. Thank you, Chatham. Awesome. And Shelley, what's your question? Oh, that's a great question. To make those magazines available, Overdrive has had to work with different publishers, I'm sure, and that's probably the cost of having that available. The magazines are also simultaneous use. So if I wanted to check out like Us Weekly and you wanted to check out Us Weekly, we would both have them checked out at the same time. There's no holds with the magazines, which makes it a little bit different. And I'm kind of disappointed because I don't see people listed on that. So yeah, the more accessibility. John, I agree. I think most people would rather have them in Overdrive so we have less apps to deal with. And that has been a big selling point for this as well. So that's kind of where we're at. Thank you, Rachel. And Rachel, I apologize. I'm on the phone because I don't know. My IT people updated the computer. Thank you, John. I can explore that, reach out to Diva as well and see what options she would have or come up with for us. Okay, we will table that discussion for the time being. I would like to go ahead and I want to kind of keep that moving forward in case it's something that we'd like to do. There was an option. Diva had let me know that she would be happy to, sorry, I'm reading Shelley's note. Is it possible if magazines are added, circulation isn't good, that it could be dropped at any time? It's really hard to get rid of something once you do it, Shelley. That's wise. Usually once we add it, it would probably be something that we would probably keep unless it was really bad. And yes, I do not see people on this list that she shared with us. I do see Us Weekly, though. So one thing that we could also, Diva asked if we would like to have a trial subscription just for ourselves, for the librarians to try using magazines in Overdrive. She would be happy to make that happen. So if you're interested and you want to reach out to me, I will connect you with Diva, and she can give you a trial with another library. It's actually the Ohio State Consortium, and they have Overdrive magazines, and you can use that through their Libby app and kind of get a sense of what you think. Okay, so Eric, if you'd like to reach out to me after the meeting, whoever's interested in that trial, and I'll go ahead and I can also send it out to our group. So if others weren't able to attend but would like to try it, that would be easy too. So. So moving on then, since this is kind of a situation that continues to evolve, is there a way to see circs within the trial? No, you would just have the ability, Shelley, to just experience checking out magazines and see if you liked it or not, and you could try it on different devices. I am sure Diva can give us circulation numbers from libraries that are in similar size to us, so you would have a little bit of an idea of what kind of circulations your community might get. And she's good with those kinds of things. But we can't see the circulations for like what we're doing because it's just a trial. Oh, absolutely. I'm glad you were able to join us. Okay, so moving on then. This is a discussion we'll continue to have, that magazine discussion, and whether or not to add it to Overdrive or how to do all that. But I also wanted to bring up, I need to step away from leading this group, and I'm really more of a facilitator than anything else, just kind of connecting dots and keeping everybody together. Oh, Rachel's asked, why aren't magazines like The Advantage? I don't know, Rachel. That's a great question. It's one for Diva. I would assume that it's probably the publishers, I guess, maybe that's putting those kinds of restrictions on the usage. But I can certainly ask Diva about that. Okay. So with that in mind, I need to step away from this position. So if there's anyone that's interested in taking this position on, thank you, John. I would be very open to chatting with them, talking about them, and seeing how we might be able to make a transition. And if there's more than one person, I mean, that's fantastic. Anyway, I wanted to put that out on the table as well. And I'm happy to stay kind of in this position until someone else is ready for it or is excited about it. But I would love to be able to take this off my plate for a little while. So. Are there any questions about like how this works or any of those things? Thanks, John. I can do that. The email, I kind of described it a bit in the email that I sent out earlier. I will do it again. I can do that. I'm very grateful to the team that continues to keep this all going forward, to Lacey at Barclay Public Library, as well as Eric up at Vespasian, and also Richard, who does such a great job from Lincoln Public. So when you have those people helping you along with all the things, it's not that hard. I may also go ahead and reach out to Cassandra at Illinois Heartland and have her post it, just in case there's someone who might see it that way. Okay, then I'll move on. Anything else for the good of the group? Any concerns that you wanted to share, or? I'm not seeing anything in the chat. So everyone have to, yes, we would have to choose which, how many magazines we'd want to receive. The prices that she's quoting there would just be the 25 titles are the cheapest option. For our small tiered libraries, that's just an increase of $200. But we would have to, as a group, choose which 25 magazines we want to make available to our users. In the past, whenever we vote on something like this, we start with a survey and kind of get a sense of everybody's feelings about it. And then we go ahead and we have a meeting online and vote. We've also voted in person before too. We try to get as many people together as possible. And it really is a matter of communicating and making sure that each library is aware of the change, because it affects their budgets. So that's why it's tough to do something like this. It is cheaper than RB Digital, and it's in the same app that we already have. So to me, those are two really positive things. Anything further? I did want to say a thank you to Eric. He continues to lead the curation for this group. Yay! Thank you, Eric. Curated list topic, he changed those out and decided to check over 4 lists to keep a bit longer. Thank you, Eric. Well done. And I would encourage you to learn how to do this curation so you could assist Eric with any of this. I have 2 staff members who do that here at our library. One in particular really enjoys it. So if you'd like to learn how, or you have a staff member that's pretty talented, enjoys that stuff, please let us know, because it takes a lot of effort to keep things new and refreshed on there, and it really makes a difference. So thank you, Eric. Okay, if there's nothing further then, yeah, it matters. You're right, John. If there's nothing further then, this meeting was just kind of one to bring everybody up to speed on where we are with magazines and how you can find out more about them. If you would like to have a trial, let me know. I can make sure it happens. And I will go ahead and put out my job description to the group. And I'll explore the question of whether or not magazines can be used as advantage titles. Pretty sure that they're not going to let us, but it's worth an ask. Anyway, I appreciate everyone's time today. Sorry for all the technical glitches. My goodness. Probably set a meeting maybe for the last part of March or first part of April, just to touch base again. In the meantime, please let me know if you have any questions or concerns. Thank you for joining us today. I'm going to adjourn this meeting. Thank you all. Thank you, Brant. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Rachel.